A hippo can crush a crocodile. A rhino can send a lion flying. A buffalo can turn a predator into dust. But in the wild, some of these giants do something strange. They stand still. They allow tiny animals to climb onto them, touch their skin, and come dangerously close to places where most creatures would never survive. So why would one of the most dangerous animals on Earth allow this? Welcome to GLIMPIQ. Look closer, and the world changes. In the rivers of Africa, a hippopotamus sinks into shallow water with only its eyes and ears above the surface. Around it, small fish begin to gather. At first, the scene feels wrong. A hippo's mouth is one of the last places any animal should want to be near. And yet, the fish move closer. They glide along the hippo's skin, search through the folds, and pick at tiny things most eyes would never notice. The hippo does not attack. It waits. Because these fish are not just swimming around. They are cleaning. They feed on dead skin, parasites, and small organisms stuck to the hippo's body. For the fish, it is food. For the hippo, it is relief. A hippo is powerful, but it cannot clean every part of itself. It cannot reach its own back, and it cannot inspect every fold of skin. So nature gives it a strange solution. A giant animal allows the smallest ones to do what strength alone cannot. This is not kindness, and it is not friendship in the human sense. It is more like an agreement without words. The small animal gets a meal, the large animal gets cleaned. Scientists call this mutualism, but when you see it happening, it feels less like a term from a textbook and more like a quiet rule of the wild. Come close if you are useful, stay useful, and you may survive. And this strange rule does not stop at the river. Out on the African grasslands, birds often land on rhinos, buffaloes, giraffes, and other large animals. They are called Oxpeckers. At first, they look like helpful little cleaners, picking ticks and parasites from the skin. And sometimes they are. But nature is rarely that simple. Oxpeckers can also peck at wounds and feed on blood. So the relationship is not perfectly innocent. Some days it helps, other times it takes more than it gives. That is what makes it real. A rhino may tolerate the bird, not because the bird is harmless, but because the alternative may be worse. Parasites drain energy, irritate the skin, and gather in places the animal cannot easily reach. So the rhino accepts the visitor. Not because it trusts blindly, but because the visitor has value. And there is something else. Oxpeckers notice movement quickly. For a massive animal with poor eyesight, that tiny bird can become an alarm system with feathers. When the bird reacts, the giant pays attention. Suddenly, that little passenger is not just taking something, it is giving something back. Underwater, this same idea becomes even stranger. On coral reefs, some fish visit cleaning stations. Smaller fish and shrimp wait there, ready to remove parasites and dead skin from larger animals. And sometimes, the visitor is a predator. Think about that for a second. A tiny fish swims close to an animal that could eat it instantly. But in that moment, the predator does not strike. It pauses. The cleaner works, and for a few seconds, hunger seems to step aside. It almost feels impossible, but it happens because the cleaner is worth more alive than eaten, at least in that moment. There is no promise in nature, no guarantee. The cleaner is still taking a risk. But the reward is food in a place few others would dare to enter, and the larger animal gets relief from parasites it cannot remove on its own. That is the strange beauty of this behavior. It reminds us that even the strongest animals have limits. A hippo may dominate a river, but it still needs help with its own skin. A rhino may be built like a living tank, but it still cannot see every tiny parasite. A predator may rule the reef, but even it carries irritations it cannot solve alone. So the wild creates partnerships that look dangerous from the outside, but make perfect sense when you look closer. Dangerous animals do not allow cleaners because they are gentle. They allow them because survival is not always about force. Sometimes survival is knowing when something smaller can do what power cannot. And once you understand that, a hippo surrounded by fish no longer looks strange. It looks like nature solving a problem, quietly, right in front of us. If this changed the way you see wild animals, join GLIMPIQ. Because the world is full of small details most people never notice. And sometimes, those details explain everything.